Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So just a little quick update. Mia has gone on holiday. So I've recruited, not really recruited. I was like, Alan, come here. And today actually it works out well because we're gonna be talking about relationships, something that's not very commonly spoken of in Asian households.
Exactly.
Yeah, so I thought it'd be interesting to get like a guy's perspective and also a girl's perspective. Because like, okay, for myself growing up, I was never able to really openly talk about relationships with my parents.
I think that's the same with me.
Yeah?
I think the majority of maybe Asian kids have gone through something like this, right?
Yeah, because I think, you know, we grow up in a westernized kind of society, but then in the household, it's very Asian.
Yeah. And you see all around you, like, I mean, dating is everywhere and everything in Western culture. I mean, it's out there, it's in movies, it's on magazines.
But it's like, but why can't I join? Guys? I'm scared.
Do you want to go
I've never
first?
actually, told my parents. Hi Dad, hi Mom, if you're watching. The first thing I think of is like Asian parents, they think up until you're an adult, which is 18.
And beyond that.
And
I think
beyond.
until you're like 45 and have kids, you're still a child yourself.
Yeah, and you are not allowed to date. I was never allowed to like bring guys home, even if they were just friends. Like my parents would automatically think like, what is this guy doing? Why is he here? Or anything like that. And the one time I did.
How did that go?
Run! Get to the chopper!
It did not go very well.
No.
My dad sat him down and interrogated him.
Where are we?
And was just, it was the worst thing ever.
Was he an Asian guy or was he not
He was an Asian guy.
Okay.
Yeah. And then afterwards, like after that whole chat, I was like, I am so sorry I put you through that. He was just like, yes, Mr. Lee. Thanks, friend.
Goes with the territory. I didn't feel comfortable talking to my parents about relationships. It was just like, don't do it.
Yeah.
I didn't know why, and
they gave you no explanation. Right?
Yeah, no explanation, no help going out, and so like I would try to date girls. I'd bring girls home, and like my mom was really strict, and like she would just grill the girls that came home with. My mom would get really angry at me, and we would have like really awkward, like quiet fights in the kitchen.
Wait, how old was this?
I was older. I was like 16 or 17 by this point. It wasn't like, I wasn't like 13 years old. Like I could drive. I had, you know, I thought I was an adult. Looking back on it, I wasn't.
Looking back, you are not an adult.
I was definitely not mature emotionally
and you
or
don't know
at all.
anything at that point. Because of that, it made me very like scared almost to even approach the idea. Like I just didn't think about dating. And then you're kind of like torn because you're so protected and shielded at home and from these like specific topics. But then you go out and you go to school with all your Western friends and it's like, I'm confused. You know?
And you either get broken or you prevail. You become stronger. Yeah. Of course, I think parent supervision is really important to kind of guide you along the way so you don't make these mistakes. But like it's kind of weird if you're learning about relationships when you're like 20 or you're like in your 30s.
True. You're like stunted.
Yeah, and you've just started learning about it, and whereas everyone around you has already been dating for maybe like 10 years or 5 years. So you kind of have.
So everyone's already like moved along.
Exactly.
And then you're just like.
Because the first few relationships are always difficult. You don't know what you're doing.
That's true.
And sometimes you go
like you think that, oh my God, this is I found it.
Yeah.
But you look back and you're like, oh my God.
I dated her. I dated him. What?
And I guess an argument for that is from a more westernized viewpoint, it's like you learn through experience.
Yeah.
For Chinese, I mean, I can only speak for Chinese understanding.
Yeah.
Like you just don't get the liberty to even go through that.
The ideal situation is you learn little by little. Yeah. Asian dating, it's like, just like one day you're just like, you don't really get this gradual build up, and I think that leads to some heartbreak. Especially if you're at that time, you don't have parents to talk to. I mean, it's rough. Good feeling.
Do you think it's possible when you're young and naive and just like, I know everything, to actually be able to establish that kind of communication?
I think half of it is how Chinese, especially Chinese, like mainland Chinese culture is, I think. There's this distance that parents put
That's true.
with their kids. So it's
like
not
the whole
just
related to like showing affection.
Yeah,
right?
like
hugging.
Do you hug your parents?
No.
I started hugging my dad when I was like in my early 20s. Like, hug? It was so weird getting past that, you know?
Wow, you're more progressive than I am. I still haven't gotten to that stage. I feel like I show love and affection through actions and things I do.
That is very Chinese way. Well, I think the first thing, at least for my parents, or my mom at least, it's like she's just morally conservative. So like I have one chance and don't screw it up. That's kind of her mentality.
So I think it's like a couple things. It's based on their own experiences, but you forget that they were also like you at one stage.
Yeah.
And so they've definitely lived through things, and so they know what happens. And I think a lot of it is just like they want to protect you from making the same mistakes that they did. And I feel like for my parents, that's definitely where my mom comes from.
I'm an only child. Parents put so much emphasis on making sure that you turn out right, because you get one shot. You don't have like a younger sibling, like, oh, if he messes up, it's all right, we got the other one. It's like all on you, so like they're overprotective. My mom had, she would say one thing to me, and it's kind of corny, but you know that song, like, is it like Wise Men Say?
Wise men say.
Wise men.
Only fools rush in, and she would like remind me constantly about that.
Only fools rush in.
And like that's all I got from, like, listen, I love my mom. Mom, I love you. Probably watching this, but like,
Mama Shia.
yeah, it wasn't really. It was just like that, and that's all I had. Compromise.
Yeah.
The compromise.
That's what's missing. It's a compromise. Yeah. A lot of the time it's no compromise. It's just like flat out no, or okay, you can. There's nothing like, if you do say no, tell me why. And we can figure out a compromise. There's no such thing.
No such thing. Did you feel like your parents didn't feel like they needed to give you an explanation? Was it kind of like that, or did they just not know how to talk to you about it?
I think my mom tried more because, you know, like a mother-daughter, you have a different kind of relationship.
Sure. I had a pretty big problem with them being a little too protective of me, because I found out that I had to learn a lot of these things later on in my life. Like, because they protected me from failure. They protected me from not being able to accomplish the things that I wanted, you know, by helping me all the time.
It's a good and bad thing.
It's a good thing because, you know, I came out, you know, without too many devastating things happening in my childhood. But as I became an adult, I felt like I was like a little spoiled, a little coddled in many ways. And like I just like kind of wish that I failed more as a kid so I could have dealt with it. Especially with the relationships. Like, I wish I had experienced a lot more things younger. I'd want it to be really open. I never want to just tell my kid, like, you can't do this because you don't understand yet.
But I feel like at that age, we all think we're like...
No, but if your parents treat you as an adult, if they go up to you and talk to you, I think you'll want to be more mature and responsible. And it's just like, kids, I think at a certain age naturally want to rebel. I mean, it's just in there. And the more you tell a kid no, without giving them a reason, without showing them like respect or explaining to them that, you know, why they're doing these things, the more they're gonna want to like just go crazy.
If my kid came up to me and asked me, then I would be open about things, like to a certain degree, because you kind of can gauge how much they should know or they can handle, or maybe just like put it in a way that's understandable to them, and they shouldn't be scared to talk about it.
And I think kids are growing up faster and faster nowadays.
Oh my god, it's so scary. I look at little teenagers now on their Instagram and I'm like, dang!
They got like makeup on.
They got their makeup on point, and like back then I was still just in my room learning long division.
But that's why I think parenting needs to change too. That's just because like
to kind of keep up with it.
Of course you want to have some kind of discipline, but I want to make sure that if I have a kid, that they know the door's open and they can come and talk to me about anything.
Yeah.
And hopefully they will, because I think that's what every parent wants.
Yeah.
They want a mentor.
I would have very specific I would be like, okay, these are the things that you should know, and like discipline them in a way that, in terms of like morals and things like that, just have that instilled in them.
Yeah, because I think the strongest values that a person can have to come from themselves. They can't be.
But that's
they can't
also
come
learned from parents.
Of course, it's learned from parents. It's better if they understand why.
But I think the main thing to really understand is like try to understand where your parents are coming from. They come from a good place.
Right. And they're probably right.
And they're probably right.
They probably are right.
They're like human beings as well. They've been through what you're going through, so don't think that they're just like total aliens. And I think it takes a while to really reach that point.
And communication is key for like everything. Not only just with your parents, but everything in life.
It's good to be empathetic.
Yes.
And try to see it from multiple perspectives rather than just like, so yeah, let us know your experiences and what you guys think about this, like what you guys went through. Yeah. We'd love to hear it. And yeah, this is Alan, by the way.
I'm Alan. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Yeah. Thanks, guys. See you in the next one.
Movies or like a local coffee shop, and then you're a house. But if you can't bring that person to your house to hang out, like you're gonna be like, well, you know, it's gonna be so difficult.
And
why will I even
just
bother?
Like hanging out.
Yeah.
Like nothing.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay.